Social learning theory. During the first half of the 20th century, the behavioral school of psychology became a dominant force, a topic of much discussion. The behaviorists proposed that all learning, whatever the humans learn, it was a result of the direct experience with the environment in which they live through the process of association and reinforcement. The social learning theory, which was proposed by Albert Bandura, he emphasized the importance of three things: observing, modeling, and imitating the behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions of others. So social learning theory, it considers both the environmental and the cognitive factors which together influences the human learning and behavior. So in social learning theory, Albert Bandura, he adds two important ideas. Number one, mediating processes occur between stimuli and responses. So the stimuli is something which triggers a reaction, which is a catalyst in which generate some sort of response. So that is needed. And the number two is behavior, which is learned from the environment through the process of observational learning. Let's see more what observational learning is and what is the idea behind it and how it originated through an experiment which was performed by Albert Bandura called the Bobo doll experiment. The experiment involved exposing the children to two different adult models, an aggressive model and a non-aggressive model. After witnessing the adult's behavior, the children would then be placed in a room without the model and they were observed to see if they would imitate the behaviors they had witnessed earlier. The results of the experiment revealed that children in the non-aggressive group, they behaved less aggressively than those in the control group. The children who were exposed to the violent model, they tended to imitate the exact behavior they had observed when the adult was no longer present. And the researchers also found that the boys behaved more aggressively than girls. Boys, they engaged in a lot of physical aggression than the girls. Bandura's Bobo doll experiment therefore supported the social learning theory. Let's take a look at the four processes which form the framework of social learning theory. Number one, attention. The degree to which we notice the behavior. How attentively are we noticing that behavior that grabs our attention before it can be imitated. Number two, retention. How well we remember that behavior. We cannot perform the behavior if we do not remember that behavior. So while a behavior may be noticed, unless a memory is formed, the observer will not be able to perform that behavior. Number three is reproduction. So after noticing and remembering that behavior, the time to perform the behavior, the ability to perform the behavior, we observe. So it influences our decision about whether to try performing the behavior. Even when we wish to imitate and observe behavior, we are limited by our physical abilities. And number four, motivation, the will to emulate the behavior, whether I want to perform this behavior. This mediational process is referred to as a vicarious reinforcement. It involves learning through observing the consequences of actions for other people rather than through direct experience.